I want to finish up the drop-down as far as base functionality is concerned, so making the options clickable, selectable, emitting which element was clicked to the outside, and feeding the options in from the outside as well. I'm probably not going to deal with accessibility, and there doesn't seem to be any big interest in the styling of it, so I'm just going to do that off camera, or have it already. Let's get to the code. Right, so the first thing we want to do is extract the options as a parameter, so that it's controllable from the outside. So this is actually a type we want to export. And we are going to feed in a list of objects, list of strings, options. And we can simply copy this. We can go to our demo and feed these options in here. Make our length a bit. Hey. Just complaining over here. Yeah, it is. Okay. So these options are now fed in from the outside. So if we change one of them, we'll see that they changed here. Next, the default state should probably be closed, not open. And we want now to detect which option was actually clicked. And that should be propagated to the outside. So let's add a on change handler. And that handler will emit, let's say we want to emit the index of which one was clicked. We'll just hand it into the menu. The parent component here really doesn't necessarily want to do anything with it for now. And let's call this on activation. We need the index. And then we can just call the onChange. Oh, I need to still add it to a parameter list. And then we can just call onChange with the index of a clicked option. And if we go to the option, then the option also needs a click handler. Let's just call it on activation. Not here, up here. On activation, and let's add a click handler. Now, to make this accessible, we want to add some keyboard handlers and other things later on as well. Maybe on this element, maybe on the parent element. I'm going to suppress the my linter telling me that this is a clickable element, we should add accessibility things. Right, and on change is missing in the parent here. And let's just log it out for now. So if we go to the browser, we open up our console. If I clear this, we have no errors. I just wanted to make sure that error was not from before. If I click the first element, we should get index 0, 1, 2, 3. Seems to work. Now, we also want to feed back in the currently selected option. That should also be controlled. It shouldn't just be the first one. So let's add that. So this should become a parameter. So let's call it currently selected. Also a number. Now we could decide to maybe instead emit the actual option value. The advantage of the index is that if there's an option that has the same label in here, we don't care. It's not a thing we need to care about when we have a currently selected one here. Let's say if we wanted to mark off one of them in some special way. And then this is just options currently selected. We need to provide this a currently selected. So if we change currently selected to like 2, then it's going to be option 2. Let's put this in a state. Now there might be an argument for the null state that no option has been selected yet. Let's leave the log statement in here in a second because we want to suppress something in a sec. So if we click around, we're going to change our option. But if I clear the console, and let me switch to the browser, and I click, like we can see option 2 is currently selected. If I click on option 2 here, we'll still emit the on change event, even though we didn't actually change the selected value. So let's suppress that. We can do that by intercepting it here. So this is the index. And if the currently selected index does not equal to the new index, then we emit the index through this callback. If we go back to the browser, if I clear the console and I click option 2, we see no change. If I click option 1, we do get a change and an emission, but if I click it again, nothing happens. So that's good. Next, we should think about error handling. What happens if we put in a -1 in here, for example? Let's switch back to the editor. So what happens if we receive a -1 or an out of bound, like something that's larger than the actual components? So let's do a guard here. So currently selected is smaller 0. Then let's throw an arrow. And we want to make a template string because we want to give the user as much useful information as possible. So let's say the currently selected index, the provided index is smaller 0. I apologize for my constant throat clearing. Missing semicolon. There we go. And the linter issues, I will investigate this at some point of time. We can remove the log statement now. That was just to demonstrate that we'll need to deal with the trigger. Actually, we can remove all of this. This can just be this. And let's put in here like -1. Let's do it up here. So we expect an error. Let's go back to the browser. And we get the error, the provided currently selected index -1 is smaller 0. Now, why is this useful? Because let's say we're debugging it and someone did a find index of something in an array and it wasn't found, then that will return them, for example, the index -1. So they know at least where to start debugging. Let's do the same thing for the other out of bounds, so larger the options. So if it's larger or equals to the length, then and I did not capture that. I apologize. And let me zoom in. Anyway, I checked here the if currently selected is larger than the length, and then just throwing the error message that I kind of spelled out before. And if we switch over to the browser now, if we clear it and go for like an index like 42, because why not? Then we'll get the error message, the provided currently selected index 42, and we want a space there. Is out of range for the number of options provided. I'm still not happy with the error message necessarily, but that'll have to do. And we have a space in here now. Let me not forget to switch to the editor this time. Let's fix this. So when could this happen? This could happen when they, for example, do a filter on an options and they reduce all available options to 0. This would also give them an indication of when to start looking. It's also an argument to maybe support a null argument. For now, this is a one of many, meaning there needs to be at least one selectable option. And one option is always selected. Do we need to do anything else? I don't think so. Next step would be to do accessibility, listening to keyboard events, managing the focus. So that's what we'll do next time we work on this component. Then I leave it at this, and if you have any questions, just leave a comment.